Kuzampo, this is Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program. I'm Pupkam. Our top stories this week. Group Galpo's relief Kidu continues till December. Punasangchutu Hydropower Project Authority seeks local workforce reinforcement. And People's Democratic Party asks for immediate reopening of Centenary Farmers Market. Individuals whose livelihoods continue to be affected by the COVID-19 pandemic will keep on receiving the Drugalpo's Relief Kidu for the next 3 months till December. Affected individuals will be getting Kidu amount of 10,000 ngitam for the full amount and 7,000 ngitam for the partial amount. The Kidu is applicable only for those who have been laid off or placed on unpaid leave or reduced salary from businesses in tourism and tourism-dependent sectors. It also includes employees of businesses that are mandated to remain closed and individuals engaged in self-operated businesses in tourism and tourism-dependent sectors that have no earnings. Returnees who have lost jobs abroad will also get the Kidu. The affected individuals are required to apply at royalkidu.bt. While the application is open to new applicants as well, the applicants from the last 6 months are also required to reapply. Since its launch in April, the Drugalpo's Relief Kidu granted 1.2 billion ngitam to more than 33,000 beneficiaries and over 14,000 children. Pupke for BBS News. The first phase of the mass seasonal influenza vaccination in the country is launched. 6 high-risk groups will be receiving the vaccination in this phase. The remaining population will be vaccinated in November in the second phase.
The 6 high-risk groups include health professionals, pregnant women, children aged between 6 to 24 months, the elderly population aged above 65 years, those with chronic medical conditions, and active frontline workers serving in the high-risk areas. With the onset of the flu season, the vaccine is expected to prevent flu so that it helps in reducing other related diseases as well.
Through the influenza vaccine which we will be providing, it will prevent seasonal flu, and seasonal flus has a tendency to lead to complications like pneumonia, which lead to deaths in elderly, in the very old, and also in the very young, and also prevents similar episodes in the comorbid conditions and also in the pregnant ladies.
The vaccine is available at all health centers. Vaccination for the high-risk population was launched in November last year. Sringzam, PBS News.
Since the pandemic, many countries made it mandatory to wear face masks with introduction of fines and penalties for offenders. However, such methods will not be imposed in the country, according to the health minister. During the recent press briefing, the minister said people should take personal responsibility to wear face masks at all times.
According to the health minister, many countries have started fining people for not wearing masks in public places. In India, people violating the rules are fined 500 to 1000 rupees or even more for repeated offenders. The minister added that in some countries, the penalties are even as high as $300, equivalent to around 21,000 newton.
Let us empower our people to make behavior change. Then we will achieve other things. Eat healthy. Our genku se ngacharagi genku di ngachigi lejum be lalen thap chubachin te dari coronavirus cham chilu men ataragi ngachara mabuni gi neji non communicable diseases ani de suloe lujong bego se ani de suloe na me same phemba oni me se noila. Empowering our citizens is far more better than introducing fines and penalties la.
Despite the government's intent not to impose fines and penalties, usage of masks in public areas is mandatory and frontliners are strictly monitoring its usage. Pema Saldun Sring, BBS News.
On one side, the country grapples with unemployment issues. Running parallel are the opportunities waiting to be grasped. This is evident as Punasangchu 2 Hydroelectric Project Authority continues to struggle with shortage of laborers during the pandemic. The project authority is calling for Bhutanese youth to step forth as it assures that several works, both skilled and unskilled, are within the capacities of the local workforce.
So far, the project lost around 1,600 workers due to the pandemic as well as from expiry of contracts. And these are the openings waiting to be filled. As of now, the job applications are open and the first batch is expected to be inducted by this weekend.
This is called Call of the Nation.
The Economic Affairs Minister, who is the chairman of Punasangchu Hydroelectric Project Authority, recently met with the project officials. Concerned over the labourer shortage, the minister said the situation could dig a big hole in the public exchequer if not addressed soon. Minister Loknath Sharma said, due to the COVID-19 situation, it is difficult to get all the workers and experts from India immediately. The standard operating procedures and guidelines are other challenges in bringing in foreign workers. At the same time, the risks of importing the virus are imminent.
Now we will go out more to the Bhutanese youths to come forward and work, because this is the time we need them. For another 3 to 6 months, we'll have a very difficult time to bring in expedite workers. So now is the time to fill up the gap. And it is not that we cannot do. Our youth can do. Yes, the work is laborious, but our youths are tough and they can really do it. This is what I want to convey. I want to tell them.
He said the local workforce can carry out works such as bar bending and binding, carpentry and masonry at project sites. Moreover, these are all hands-on training jobs, and for those interested, a crash course will be conducted before taking over.
Just now we are seeing for another 3 to 6 months to fill up this gap, but by that time they will be skilled or semi-skilled and they can continue working. And there are new projects coming like Kholongchu. By that time, Punasangchu 1 will also have some work, because we will finalize everything on Punasangchu 1. So there will be a lot of works, and there will be hydropower projects coming up in future. Therefore, their works will be almost permanent and they will be skilled. And with that skill, they can train more Bhutanese. So in future, our plan is that we will have lots of workers in hydropower sector.
While heeding to the moment's call, the minister said it is also an opportunity for Bhutanese to enhance skills required in the hydropower sector, a cornerstone of the country's economy.
We are providing a few incentives so that they can come immediately and work. We are adding to what contractor has to give, because contractor has their own policies, their own service rules, and all those workers had been working to that, and we cannot at this time ask contractor to revise. Therefore, whatever incentive to bring in our youth, we have to, the project management has to add one. And also mass and all, because in their mass, mostly due to some cultural differences, due to some eating habits, it may not be same. Therefore, we want to have a different mass system for them, different mass, not in the mass that is there.
According to the project's chairman, workers cannot be recruited through the Build Bhutan project due to different nature of the jobs. The vacancies and related details are posted on the Facebook page of Punasangchu 2 Hydropower Project Authority. It has also put in place a hotline number to encourage interested Bhutanese workers. As of now, 88% of the works at the PHP2 site are complete. The 1020 megawatt project is expected to be complete by June 2022. For Chengadoji in Wangdipodram, this is Pemel Harden, BBS News.
The pandemic has accelerated demands for a more skilled workforce. With many foreign laborers leaving the country, it has left a huge gap in the construction industry. But this is now opening up job opportunities for local workers who are trained but without a job. 28-year-old Toji Gelson is busy at a building construction site in Duatang. He is doing a work which otherwise would be done by a foreign worker. It would not have been possible if not for the pandemic. He graduated from Technical Vocational Training Institute in Galifu in 2014. He attended 2 years training on welding and fabrication. It was difficult to get any work, but today his skill is in high demand. In about just 6 months, Doji has worked for 2 buildings and earned about 200,000 ngitam. And this is his 3rd assignment.
Our work quality is no different from those of foreign workers. What we need is only a determination. There are many opportunities, and we can do it.
And the story is no different for Sangeduchi, a farmer from Martang village. He gets to use his masonry skill to earn some cash in absence of foreign workers. He is paid 600 ngitam daily.
In the past, we used to get only 2 to 3 days of work, but this year we got the opportunity to work for months. I did not get such opportunities before. I'm not sure about the quality of work, but what we need is opportunities so that we can learn and get some experience.
And construction owners are happy that at least their construction continues uninterrupted.
With COVID-19, foreign workers went home, and with border gate closed, they are not able to come back. So I hired Bhutanese workers. Currently, they are doing a good job, and if we give opportunities to them, I think Bhutanese can also do it.
5 buildings are under construction in Daotong. Today, more than 35 Bhutanese are working in these buildings, ensuring the work continues amid the pandemic. It explains why the local role is essential for recovery. People are now saying there should be significant public investment in programs that can upgrade the skills of local workers. For Kilonchu in Sandubjonkar, Phuket for BBS News. It is not necessary to walk into an office to submit documents every time an agency announces a job vacancy if one is registered with e-Layok. This newly launched web application enables job seekers to apply for any vacancy online from a mobile phone and thereby eliminates costs incurred on documents and transportation. One just needs to register once and then applying to any job vacancy is just a click away. An aspiring tech entrepreneur developed the e-Layok app some 2 months ago.
Taking inspiration from His Majesty the King's National Day address on Digital Bhutan, 27-year-old Tandin Doji developed the app. The app will act as a bridge between the employer and job seekers to make a recruitment process easier, less laborious and tedious. While job seekers just have to register once to benefit from the app, for the employers, if they choose to partner with e-Layok, starting from document verification to shortlisting, the e-Layok team will take care of it all. Currently, the team has on board Bhutan Power Corporation and Bhutan Livestock Development Corporation Limited. The e-Layok team is currently verifying documents and shortlisting applicants for 22 vacancies floated by the 2 companies.
These 2 companies are recruiting people and they agreed to use our e-Layok web application. So then when these employers post their job vacancy through us, then the registered job seekers, the verified ones, can see and apply to this position. So the process is first they register, we verify, and then whatever jobs are posted through e-Layok, they can apply. So it's a 3-step process.
Tandon has managed to employ 11 part-timers and 3 full-time employees. He added that while the traditional way of submitting documents for a job vacancy manually would cost more than 500 Newton, the app will charge 150 per application, which is reduced to 100 after the first 5 jobs. However, there is no fee for job seekers to register with the app.
Currently what's happening is that each of the employers will recruit on their own, and as a result, if I'm applying to 5 companies, I have to do a set of 5 documents and deliver it to them individually. But with eLayok, what we are able to do is we are able to get the documents from the job seekers digitally into our system, check it once, and they're done. Now they can, if employers come on board with us like BPC and Livestock, now let's say we have a new employer with us. This employer, they can just load the vacancy with us.
For the job seekers, the app is practical and useful, especially at times like the pandemic.
For instance, if a person is in eastern districts like Tashigang and Pemagasil, he or she doesn't have to come in person to Thimphu to submit the documents, and it saves time. We can submit the documents sitting at home with the help of a laptop or a phone.
We do not have to go to the offices, fill up the forms and waste our time. We can directly apply online being home. And it's especially handy at times like this pandemic where it's risky to travel. We can apply online and be safer.
More than 2,500 job seekers have registered with the app. Tandon believes that if technology entrepreneurs like him are given an opportunity, the talk of going digital is not a far-fetched dream. Sunampem for BBS News.
The People's Democratic Party called upon the government for immediate reopening of the Centenary Farmers Market. According to the party, its closure and replacement at the multi-level car parking do not serve to fight the pandemic spread. The party observed that many of the vendors affected are women and their children.
According to a press release, PDP had remained silent on the government's closure of the CFM since the government had announced that the move was to fight the COVID-19 spread in the crowded marketplace. However, the party stated that if that was the reason for closing the CFM, the multi-label car parking is not the ideal place to substitute for it. The poor ventilation in the MLCP does not serve to fight the pandemic spread. As per the press release, PDP wants the government to reopen CFM based on 5 grounds. The party suggests the government to spread out customers in the CFM by increasing the trading days while keeping the market open every day and even keep it open for night shopping. Also, as an interim measure to fight COVID-19, they have suggested for the government to reduce the occupancy of the CFM to 50% or even 1/3 to help maintain the required social distance. The party stated that shopping by the public can be done based on the newly established zones on the specific days and timings. They also suggested for the government to build satellite vegetable markets to various other locations across the city to ensure that the vendors, most of whom are women, do not lose their livelihoods. And lastly, they stated that even after building the satellite market, CFM should remain as the primary vegetable market for the city. Pema Saldun, BBS News.
To review the achievements of the Thimphu Structure Plan 2002-2027, an extensive socio-economic survey was recently carried out in Thimphu. The survey that covered all households within Thimphu and the 6 peri-urban areas will also enhance the data collected in the past to bring in developmental changes. The Ministry of Works and Human Settlement carried out the survey in collaboration with Thimphu.
The collection of data was carried out from 21st September and ended on 5th October. Unlike past surveys, the recent survey collected data on an app called Shichar. The collection of information begins from the building owner with details of the building and its occupancy type. Then data from all the units in the building are collected, including the number of people in a unit, their occupation, income, and contact number, among others.
We're doing it for two purposes. First thing is our Thimphu structure plan is under review and it will be amended soon. So this geodata base will form an important critical base data. And secondly, we wanted a proper database for Thimphu, so we don't have it right now.
All these details will also help develop a geo-database for the Thomde and its peri-urban areas. It is a GIS-based platform with details of all buildings, infrastructures, services, and utilities.
So right now what's happening is we do have data, but all at scattered locations with different agencies. So the main reason is we want to have a centralized GIS data management system, so wherein we'll be sharing this data with other relevant agencies also. So from now on, this will be the base data. So we'll update it as and when required.
She said Thimphu Thomde will monitor and update the change in information of tenants through a web-based portal which is yet to be developed. She added the agencies can use the data to bring in developmental activities in terms of education, health, housing, and many more. According to the ministry, such a data center will also help the health ministry during the COVID-19 situation in terms of contact tracing, vaccination, and other necessary activities. She added the data would be useful in all kinds of disasters and emergencies. With the development of the data bank, the ministry plans to start a Druk map application later with which people can navigate using Global Positioning System or GPS. The ministry is also planning to collect data on transport, water bodies, and all other natural and man-made structures to improve the geo-database. The final reports of the survey are expected to be ready by June next year. Kidu for BBS News.
Amid the COVID-19 pandemic, farmers in Dungbi and Cardamom villages in Shemgang are experiencing a bountiful cardamom yield this year. Farmers say the production is better as compared to the previous years. They are hoping for a good price as well.
These days, with favorable weather, farmers of Dungbi and Cardamom villages in Tonggeuk are totally engaged in harvesting cardamom. And it is never a tireless moment for these farmers as cardamom is one of the main cash crops.
Last
year I could harvest only about 8 sacks of cardamom, but this time I'm pretty sure I'll have more than 15 sacks of cardamom. This time we have more production than the past years.
Production this time is better. Before, we did not have much production like this time, maybe because of old cardamom trees. Initially, we earned about 100,000 to 250,000. Now we get only 50 to 60,000 every year.
For these farmers, quality was one of the main issues in the past. But today, they said, the quality has improved with more time to dry the cardamom seeds and proper nurturing of the plants from early stage. Although the quality and production seem promising this year, farmers are worried with the price.
With the COVID-19 pandemic, we're worried about where to market them because usually we take it to Gelefu. This time, due to the pandemic, there is travel restriction in Gelefu. Last year, the government bought our produce and we are thankful. But this time, we are skeptical whether the government will facilitate such a program or not.
Villagers in these areas started cultivating cardamom around 2 decades ago. For Pemba Samrup in Shemgang, Sringzam, BBS News.
That's all we have for you for this week. Thank you for watching.